All right, so today we're going to dive deep into this book called Tax-Free Wealth
Okay.
by Tom Wheelwright.
All right.
Um, and he's kind of a big deal because he actually handles Robert Kiyosaki's taxes.
Wow.
So yeah, that Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to go through this book and kind of see what it says.
Okay.
And one of the things that I found really interesting is that it claims that taxes can actually be fun, easy, and understandable.
All right.
I don't know about the fun part, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely curious to see what he's got to say.
Yeah. And the great thing about this book is that you don't have to be like a real estate mogul or live in any particular country.
Okay,
These principles are universal.
gotcha.
So no matter where you live, Wheelwright really emphasizes
Yeah.
that, he's not talking about any loopholes or anything shady. It's about using the existing tax laws to your advantage.
Okay, so we're talking totally legal ways to reduce our tax burden.
Absolutely.
Feel like it.
It's about working with the system, not against it.
I am all ears.
Yeah.
So one of the things that kind of blew my mind a little bit was this idea that taxes are actually a stimulus package for entrepreneurs and investors.
Right.
How does that even work?
Yeah, so if you think about it, governments use tax incentives
Mm-hmm.
to encourage certain behaviors,
Right.
right? So you get deductions for creating jobs or deductions for investing in real estate. You get deductions for, boosting domestic oil production. And all of those are not by accident.
Right.
Those are very strategic,
Yeah.
designed to stimulate the economy.
Interesting. So it's like the government is actually incentivizing us
Absolutely.
to do certain things that benefit the economy as a whole.
Yeah, and so the idea is that by understanding those incentives,
Hmm.
you can actually make the tax code work for you.
Okay, so it's like finding those hidden level up bonuses in a video game.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great concept. But I think for a lot of people, including myself, we think about taxes and we just kind of get overwhelmed.
Sure.
It just seems so complex.
Right.
So how do we even begin to wrap our heads around all of this?
Yeah, and that's where Wheelwright really talks about the difference between what he calls the average taxpayer
Okay.
and the super taxpayer.
All right, so where do I see myself in this spectrum?
Right, so the average taxpayer is reactive.
Yeah.
They only focus on deductions when tax season rolls around,
Mm-hmm.
whereas a super taxpayer is proactive. They're planning their finances throughout the year
Okay.
to maximize those tax benefits, and they're building a team of advisors.
So it's like the difference between, frantically cramming for a test the night before
Exactly.
and studying consistently throughout the semester.
Absolutely.
And I know which one I used to be, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to get better. So
Yeah, and the rewards can be huge.
yeah.
Wheelwright argues that, once you understand the power of strategic tax planning,
Okay.
you can unlock opportunities that you never thought possible.
I like that.
And a big part of that is mastering the art of the deduction.
Okay, so this is where it gets juicy, right?
Yeah,
He says that almost any expense can be deductible,
right.
but there's got to be a catch, right? I can't just write off my entire Netflix subscription as a business expense.
Well, not quite.
Okay.
The magic words here are ordinary and necessary.
Okay.
So to be deductible, an expense has to be both of those things
Gotcha.
for your specific business or investment activity.
Okay.
And this is crucial. You need meticulous documentation
Right.
to back it up.
Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm a freelance writer and I also happen to be a travel enthusiast.
Okay.
Could I deduct trips that I take for research, even if I extend my stay for, personal sightseeing?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
But you need to be able to demonstrate that the primary purpose of the trip was business related.
Gotcha.
And you need receipts and documentation for all of your expenses.
No more shoebox full of crumpled receipts.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Good record keeping is your best defense against an audit.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, so, we talked about those ordinary and necessary expenses, but the book also goes into some more complex strategies like depreciation, amortization, like-kind exchanges.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that kind of make my head spin a little bit.
Sure.
So should we even be attempting these on our own?
Those are definitely some advanced strategies that often require, professional guidance.
Okay.
But let me give you a quick example
Okay.
of how powerful they can be.
Right.
So let's say you own a rental property.
Okay.
Depreciation allows you to deduct a portion of the property's value each year to account for wear and tear.
So even though the property might actually be going up in value,
Correct.
I can still claim a deduction for it losing value.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's a way to legally shelter some of that rental income from taxes.
So how does that translate into actual tax savings?
That depreciation deduction reduces your taxable income,
Okay.
which in turn lowers your overall tax bill.
Gotcha.
So it frees up more cash flow.
Okay. I'm starting to see the appeal here.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the, those advanced strategies, let's back up a little bit and talk about income.
Sure.
He uses this term INCLI buckets. What's that all about?
So he breaks down income into three main buckets.
Okay.
You've got earned income, which is from your job or your business. You've got ordinary income, like interest and dividends.
Okay.
And then you've got investment income,
Okay.
which is capital gains from selling assets.
So like if I'm making money from a side hustle and rental properties and investments, I need to be aware of like how each of those streams is being taxed.
Exactly. And that's the key takeaway.
Okay.
Each bucket is taxed differently.
Gotcha.
And so once you understand that, you can start making strategic decisions.
Okay.
For example, if you're a business owner, you might consider paying yourself a salary and also taking distributions from your company.
Wait, so I could potentially lower my overall tax burden just by changing how I receive my income.
That's the idea. Salaries are subject to payroll taxes, but distributions are not.
That seems almost too good to be true.
Well, it's all about using the tax code to your advantage.
Yeah.
Wheelwright even gives an example of a business owner strategically shifting income to family members in lower tax brackets.
Right.
Perfectly legal.
All right.
And incredibly impactful.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling like a super taxpayer in training here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about income tax, but let's not forget about those other sneaky taxes.
Right.
Sales tax, property tax, estate tax.
Yeah.
These are the ones that I feel like can really catch you off guard.
You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, many people only start thinking about these taxes when it's too late.
Right.
Like when they're facing a hefty property tax bill or trying to figure out how to minimize estate taxes for their heirs.
Or luckily for us, we have Tom Wheelwright here to guide us through this.
Right.
He's got to have some tips for tackling these often overlooked taxes.
Absolutely.
All right, so lay it on me.
So, for example, he talks about challenging property valuations if you believe they're too high.
Okay.
He discusses various exemptions and strategies for reducing your estate tax burden, like setting up trusts or gifting assets strategically.
Okay, deep breaths. We got this.
Yeah.
This whole conversation has made me realize how important it is to have a solid tax advisor on your team.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't attempt brain surgery on myself, so why would I try to navigate the tax code alone?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Finding the right tax advisor is crucial.
Okay.
You need someone who's not just a number cruncher, but a true partner.
Right.
Who understands your goals
Yeah.
and can help you create a long-term, flexible tax strategy.
Okay, and on that note, I think it's time to take a breather and let all of this sink in.
All right.
We've covered a lot of ground, but we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into specific strategies for different types of income and investments. Welcome back, everybody. So, we were talking about tax-free wealth, and my head is already buzzing with all these different strategies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to see my tax return in like a whole new light.
That's the power of knowledge.
Yeah. So let's keep going. One of the things that I think is particularly relevant for a lot of our listeners,
Yeah.
a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of freelancers,
Yeah.
is this whole issue of payroll taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Those can really be a drag on your income.
Yeah.
But Wheelwright argues that there are legal ways to minimize the impact.
Right.
So spill the beans. What's the secret sauce here?
So one key concept that he talks about is understanding the difference between salary
Okay.
and distributions.
Okay, so like why would I want to split my income like that? Doesn't that just make things more complicated?
So here's the thing. Distributions, unlike salary, are not subject to those pesky payroll taxes.
Okay.
So it's a way to optimize how you receive your income,
Sure.
to minimize your overall tax burden.
So it's not about avoiding taxes altogether.
Right.
It's about being smart,
Exact.
about how you structure things,
Absolutely.
and taking advantage of the rules as they exist.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important point,
Okay.
which is choosing the right business entity.
Okay. Yeah, this is something I've always been a little bit fuzzy on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're supposed to know this, but no one really explains it
Right.
very clearly.
So whether you're an S Corp, an LLC, or something else entirely, your business structure
Okay.
has significant tax implications.
Okay, so what are the key things that we should be considering when we're choosing an entity?
Well, it depends on your specific circumstances.
Sure.
But some of the key factors to consider are liability protection,
Okay.
ease of administration, and of course the tax implications.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found really interesting in this section is that he actually suggests involving your parents in your business.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Sounds strange. I know.
Yeah, I thought we were trying to simplify things here.
Yeah. But think about it.
Okay.
If your parents are in a lower tax bracket,
Okay.
strategically involving them in your business
Okay.
could benefit both of you.
So how would that work?
Well, they might receive income at a lower tax rate,
Okay.
while you could potentially reduce your overall tax burden.
Okay, so it's like a win-win situation.
Right. It's about finding those creative solutions.
Yeah, I like it, thinking outside the box.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's move on to something that I think makes a lot of people nervous. These other taxes, property sales, VAT.
Yeah, these are the ones that tend to sneak up on you.
Yeah, and I'll admit I'm guilty of this too. I focus so much on my income tax
Yeah.
that I forget about these other little monsters working in the shadows.
But here's the good news.
Okay.
There are often exemptions and tax benefits
Okay.
hidden within these rules.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, and Wheelwright really emphasizes the need to understand these taxes thoroughly,
Okay.
rather than just blindly relying on your account.
So knowledge is power, especially when it comes to taxes.
Absolutely.
And I remember him sharing that story about the business owner who ended up facing like major penalties
Right.
because of a sales tax oversight.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even seemingly small oversights
Yeah.
can have major consequences.
Okay, so what are some of the things we can do to avoid falling into those traps?
So he talks about things like challenging property valuations if you believe they're inaccurate.
Okay.
And when it comes to estate taxes,
Yeah.
there are tools like trusts and strategic gifting strategies
Okay.
that can minimize the impact.
All right, so deep breaths.
Yeah,
We got this.
we do.
You know, one of the things that this conversation has made me realize is that estate planning is something that I really need to get serious about.
I agree.
It's one of those things I've been putting off, but it's clearly really important.
It is. And, Wheelwright doesn't just focus on the traditional write-a-will approach.
Okay.
He dives into concepts like trusts and limited partnerships and gifting strategies, all designed to protect your wealth.
I like that he talks about controlling your assets, not just owning them.
Right. It's about taking charge
Yeah.
and structuring things strategically.
And making it work for you both now and in the future.
Exactly. So one key concept that he introduces
Yeah.
is setting up a trust,
Okay.
which is a legal entity that can hold and manage your assets according to your instructions.
Okay, so why would I want to set up a trust?
Well, it can be a powerful tool for protecting your wealth,
Okay.
avoiding probate,
Mm-hmm.
and minimizing estate taxes.
Okay, and he even talks about giving away portions of your assets,
Right.
like business shares to family members in lower tax brackets,
Yes.
but maintaining control through things like limited partnerships.
Exactly.
This is like next level stuff.
It's about playing the long game and utilizing the available tools to your advantage.
I really appreciate that, he doesn't just throw these dry facts and figures at us.
Yeah.
He actually makes it relatable with these personal anecdotes.
Yeah.
Like I remember the story he shared about his parents' approach to estate planning.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that their children wouldn't be burdened with any debts or anything. But they also didn't want to leave behind significant assets that could trigger a bunch of estate taxes.
That's a good point.
It's a reminder that estate planning isn't just for the super rich.
Right.
It's for anybody who wants to protect their loved ones
Exactly.
and ensure that, things go smoothly.
And speaking of aligning your values with your financial goals, the book also touches on the importance of charitable giving
Okay.
as part of your estate plan.
So how does that fit into the whole picture?
So he discusses how charitable trusts
Okay.
can be a powerful tool for reducing estate taxes
Okay.
while also supporting causes that are important to you.
Okay. So it's like making your money work for your heart as well as your wallet.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we talked about minimizing taxes, but how does all of this tie into actually building wealth and creating a life where, we don't have to rely on that 9 to 5?
Right. So Wheelwright has some strong opinions
Okay.
about the traditional approach of stashing money away in a 401k and hoping for the best.
Really?
In fact, he's pretty critical of those plans.
But aren't those supposed to be like the holy grail of retirement planning?
You would think so.
So what's his beef with them?
He argues that they often limit your investment options
Okay.
They expose you to market volatility,
Mm-hmm.
and they can even lead to higher taxes in retirement,
Okay.
especially if you've successfully built a lot of wealth.
Okay, so he's saying, like, there's a better way.
Right. He proposes a different path,
Okay.
one that involves actively investing in assets,
Right.
like businesses, real estate stocks, commodities.
So it's about taking control and
Yeah.
building a diversified portfolio
Exactly.
that aligns with your risk tolerance and your goals. Okay, I like that. One of the things that I really appreciate about this book is that it's not just about, knowing the rules.
Yeah,
It's about having the right mindset.
absolutely.
And I like that he talks about the fear of failure
Mm-hmm.
because that's something that I think holds a lot of people back.
He argues that it's an inevitable part of the journey
Yeah.
and that the key is to learn from those experiences
Okay.
and keep moving forward.
So it's about resilience, adaptability,
Yeah.
willingness to embrace the unknown.
And that's where having a strong team of advisors, mentors, partners comes in.
Right. It's about surrounding yourself
Yeah,
with people who share your vision,
absolutely.
challenge your assumptions, and help you navigate the complexities of, the business world and the financial world.
Exactly.
So, we've gone through all these different tax strategies, wealth building principles.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the big takeaway here? What's the essence of tax-free wealth?
So in this final section, Wheelwright really brings all of these threads together into a comprehensive framework.
Okay.
It's not about magic formulas or get-rich-quick schemes,
Right.
but a long-term sustainable approach that involves first understanding the tax code
Okay.
and making it work for you.
Right.
Building a diversified portfolio of income generating and appreciating assets.
Right.
Creating multiple streams of income so you're not relying on any single source.
Okay.
And cultivating the right mindset skills and relationships.
It's about seeing taxes not as a burden, but as a challenge to be solved.
Exactly.
It's about taking control,
It is.
being proactive, and shaping your financial destiny.
And it all starts with taking that first step, educating yourself, and building that team that supports your vision.
So are you ready to take the plunge and start building your tax-free wealth?
I think so.
Let's do it.
Oh.
Okay, so we're back, and, we're finishing up our deep dive into tax-free wealth.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like I've been given, like, cheat codes or something. For this game, I've been playing way too long on hard mode.
It is amazing how much we kind of give away just by not understanding the rules of the game.
Exactly.
But, as we've been discussing, knowledge is power,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to taxes.
Absolutely. And, in this last part of the book,
Yeah.
Wheelwright really drives home that message of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about getting lucky or finding loopholes.
Right.
It's about taking control and making informed decisions.
Absolutely.
So one of the key things that he emphasizes is that building tax-free wealth isn't like a quick fix.
Right.
It's a long-term game.
It is a process.
Yeah. And one of the things that really resonated with me was this idea of flexibility.
Yeah.
Because, tax laws change. Our circumstances change.
Absolutely.
The economy throws curveballs at us.
All the time.
So we need a strategy that can adapt and evolve.
It's like having a financial roadmap
Yeah.
that can reroute you if you hit unexpected detours.
Exactly. But how do we even build that kind of flexible strategy?
Right. So that's where having a strong team of advisors comes in.
Okay.
They can help you anticipate those changes,
Right.
identify opportunities, and adjust your course as needed.
So it's about being proactive,
Exactly.
not just reactive.
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. And, one of the things that I keep coming back to, and it's not the most exciting part,
Yeah.
but it's this whole idea of meticulous documentation.
It's so important.
Right. And I admit, I've been guilty of, the shoebox full of receipts, but I'm starting to understand why it's so crucial.
Think of it as building your financial fortress.
Okay.
Every receipt, every statement, every record is like a brick in that wall.
So it's what protects you when the tax man comes knocking.
Exactly.
Okay. No more shoeboxes for this newly reformed taxpayer.
Good.
Okay. So let's talk about choosing a tax advisor.
Yeah.
He gives all these qualities to look for: knowledgeable, passionate, proactive, ethical. But how do we actually find someone who checks all those boxes?
He really emphasizes that it's more than just technical expertise.
Okay.
You need someone who genuinely cares about your financial well-being,
Mm-hmm.
someone you can trust,
Yeah.
someone who will be your advocate.
Because like finding a doctor that you really connect with.
Exactly.
You want somebody who listens, who understands your concerns.
Right.
And explains things in a way that you can understand.
And finding a good doctor, it might take a little bit of research and legwork, but it's well worth it in the long run.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of having a good advisor. Let's talk about these 3 powerful principles that Wheelwright keeps coming back to.
Right.
Compound interest, leverage, and velocity.
The secret weapons.
Yeah, these are like the game changers. So compound interest is basically earning interest on your interest.
Exactly. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering momentum over time.
Okay, and what about leverage?
Leverage is using other people's money or resources.
Or amplify your investments.
Gotcha. So like mortgages for real estate loans, for businesses, even using your network to open doors.
Absolutely. It's about multiplying your impact.
Okay, and velocity.
Velocity is all about keeping your money moving.
Okay.
Reinvesting profits, taking calculated risks, and not letting your money just sit idle.
So creating momentum and maximizing growth.
Precisely.
Okay. And when you combine those 3 forces with strategic tax planning, I mean, the results can be pretty remarkable.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive here, what really resonated with you the most from tax-free wealth?
For me, it's that fundamental mindset shift.
Okay.
It's about seeing taxes not as a burden to be endured,
right,
but as a challenge to be strategically navigated.
Yes.
It's about taking control and shaping our financial destiny.
And for me, it's realizing that, even these complex topics like taxes can be understood.
Yeah.
And we can actually use them to our advantage.
Absolutely.
It's about empowering ourselves to make informed decisions. So we have a couple of questions for you, our listeners, to ponder as we conclude.
Okay.
What resonated most with you from tax-free wealth? What actions are you inspired to take?
Yeah.
And what could you achieve if you embrace these principles and applied them to your own financial journey?
The path to financial freedom, it's rarely a straight line, but with the right knowledge, strategy, and mindset, it's a journey that's filled with possibilities.
Absolutely.
So we hope that this deep dive has given you the tools and the inspiration to start building your own tax-free wealth.
Remember, taxes don't have to be a source of stress and anxiety.
Right.
They can be a catalyst for growth, innovation, and a life of greater abundance.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
That's it for this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deeper into the world of knowledge.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.